Yo, what you lot saying? It's your boy here, and today what I've got for you, it is the 2016 Monaco Grand Prix review for you guys. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's video today. So right before the word go, we had some little upgrades going on in the form of Renault. They brought in two new engines for two teams. One for Renault, one for Red Bull. Now for Renault, obviously with Magnussen, because we've seen how he was during the season, always being his teammate Palmer. And Ricciardo getting the engine, which was kind of a bit weird to be honest, but I assume that Ricciardo, you know, he's more experienced, you know, you want to know how the engine is with an experienced driver. So fair enough, to be honest. I mean, I think if they gave it to Verstappen, it would have been a good move, but I guess it would have been a bit too early to do it, to be honest. So it's nice that they made that decision, to be honest. You know, it would have been a bit weird if it was the other way around. But as we got into the practice session, oh boy, was the new upgrade working beautifully. So that showed that Ricciardo was actually monstering the second practice session quite massively, to be honest, albeit with a set of ultra soft tyres. So yeah, it was a massive improvement, I would say, from last time out in Spain. So yeah, Red Bull looking like maybe the team to beat throughout this season, this next part of the season. Also, another thing I want to point out is that the ultra soft tyres were brought in for this weekend. Bit weird, a lot of people were saying, oh, the ultra soft tyres should be for Russia. I was thinking that the same thing too. It should have been a lot more earlier for the ultra softs, but for some odd reason it wasn't, and we only got it to this weekend, so I don't know, it was quite weird to be honest, but at least we got it. At least we got it for this one. I mean, it's a really good race to put in the ultra softs. You know, really puts a bigger factor in strategy calls. So yeah, why not? I mean, I'm all for it. Yeah. But then as we got into qualifying, a lot of the front runners went out first to set their quick times before the heavy traffic would occur during the mid part of the session. During the mid part of the session, disaster struck for the Sauber of Nazia. He had an engine blowout coming out of the tunnel, going into the Nouvelle chicane. Arianto was blinded by it. I was very surprised that he didn't run into the back of Nazia or run into the barriers for that matter as well. So yeah, very disappointed for Nazia. He's been on and off, I would say, this season, to be honest. I mean, he hasn't really been a shine out throughout the season, you know, what with him having a lot of engine problems, that kind of stuff. You know, these are like teething problems, but it's great but it's unfortunate. Hopefully he can bounce back from this and have a really good result in the race, yeah. As the session got restarted back underway, Verstappen, who didn't really set a lap time, he came into the swimming pool section, put too much speed, he turned in way too early, clipped his front right on the barriers. That sort of broke the steering arm, which put him straight into the wall. Very disappointing for Max Verstappen, to be honest, because he was tipped to be probably one of the favourites going for pole position today, but the fact that he wasn't was a bit of a shame, especially after a fantastic result in Spain, and yeah, to be compounded with this was very frustrating. I mean, he even had an off, I forgot to mention, in practice 3, where he went straight on into Massenet. Very frustrating. So not his weekend so far for the Dutch driver, but he's still got the race, to be honest. I mean, and we know how good he is at overtaking. Like, he's one of the best. He can literally do dive bombs left, right, centre. It's crazy, man. So we'll see what he can do in the race. Hopefully he can pull this back. So yeah. And really, out of all of this, we had 6 minutes to find out who would be in Q2 and who would not be in Q2. And boy, what a showdown we had. I mean, we had the likes of Grosjean and Sainz really putting in the laps. Oh, I've got to mention Grosjean actually did a banger on the last few laps. He actually put in, like, I think it was a 15 time thing or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but he put in a banger to actually put himself out of Q1 elimination there. So good on him there. He was actually set to be out of Q1 actually. So good on him to be getting in there to Q2, putting that lap when he needed to. But really, in the end, it was the usual suspects of Marcus Ericsson, Jolyon Palmer, and the two-manners, and of course Verstappen and Nasir. Verstappen, very, very unfortunate for him. It would have been nice if he didn't make that mistake and we would actually see him actually fighting for pole position. But that's the way. That's Monaco, to be honest. I mean, these things can happen. I mean, one moment you're on top of the world, the next minute you're in the barriers, and there's nothing you can really do. So yeah, hopefully he can have a good one in the race. So moving on from Q1 to Q2, we had this insane sort of battle once again between Ricciardo, Hamilton and Rosberg, all gunning for pole position, as well as Sebastian Vettel as well. All of them really putting in strong laps. It was really more of the same of Q1, to be honest. I mean, Hamilton going fastest along with Ricciardo and Rosberg behind. It was really that kind of thing, to be honest. But in the end, we had Magnussen, Grosjean, Massa, Button, Gutierrez and Bottas all out of Q2. Unfortunate, to be honest, because especially for Bottas as well, because usually we would see him in the top 10. So the fact that he wasn't was a bit of a shame. But mind you, Williams not very good at this track. They've been very famed to not scoring a lot of points here in Monaco. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's no surprise, to be honest. Also, a little bit of a surprise as well was Jenson Button. I thought he would be right up there with the likes of Alonso in Q3 there, because oh yeah, Alonso was actually in Q3. I was quite, like I said, I was quite surprised that Button was not in Q3 with Alonso, because you know that McLaren Honda, you know, is down on power, so surely it would have been good at Monaco, because Monaco is not really an engine related circuit, unlike Monza, unlike Belgium, unlike Austria. So I was very surprised as a result of this, and hopefully Button can have a really strong race, to be honest, and maybe get in the points. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see on that one. As we got into Q3, disaster struck, and that was for Hamilton. Hamilton, as he came out of pit lane, his car stopped. Apparently his engine didn't work at all when he was coming out of the pit lane. So as he was coming out, he stopped, but thankfully he managed to stop just before the white line, because the rules say if you go past the white line, the team cannot retrieve your car under safety conditions. So yeah, very lucky that Lewis managed to stop. He was actually able to recognise it and stop just before the white line, because if he passed it, that would have been it. Hamilton would have been starting in 10th place, and that would have been really bad, especially as this is Monaco, you know, a track that is famed for not a lot of passing being done here, you know, a lot of single file racing, I would say. So for Lewis to be right down in 10th, that would really wreck his championship, especially with Rosberg, you know, who is massively tipped for get pole position. You know, it would have been a massive sting in the tail towards his championship. So yeah. And whilst that was going on, Ricciardo set a stonking lap time. What the hell, man? 1:13.6. I mean, that was just crazy lap. You know, that was really crazy. He was on the edge on the second and third sector. He was literally almost close to hitting the barriers at one point. It was just crazy, absolutely crazy. On the edge, on the limit. That was a really amazing lap, you know. A really sort of lap of the gods lap, I'd say. So yeah. And then Hamilton gets back on the track. He gets back on the track, and surprisingly, he doesn't really set any quick times bar the last lap. I was quite shocked, and I was very worried, because surely as a driver you want to get as much laps as you can, so that you know, you can set the benchmark, so that you can set a representative time on the board, you know, because Lewis was actually going to be tipped to be 10th, which would have been awful for Lewis, you know. I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean, if he didn't pull it off, he would have been 10th, and that would have been awful. I mean, if I was Lewis, I'd be banging the lap, banging it. If I make a mistake, doesn't matter, just bang it out. But no, Lewis doesn't. He waits until that last lap, pushes like crazy, and he goes third place. So yeah, very sort of very nervy times for the Mercedes crew, because literally they were all thinking Lewis was going to be 10th place, and very nervous for Lewis for himself there, putting himself in massive pressure, massive jeopardy of being in 10th place, which would have not done him any good for the race. So Lewis there, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, you're putting me on edge, you're putting everyone on edge, man. Jesus, man, why you gotta do that? Why have you gotta do that, Lewis? Jesus Christ. And then in the end, it was Daniel Ricciardo who came to take pole position. It was a really, really good lap. Like I said, it was just massive lap. It was a lap of the gods, I've got to say. It was a lap of the gods, really, really a lap of the gods. It was insane. He had the car under control. He was on the limit. He was so close to touching the barriers like Verstappen did, but this time Verstappen, instead of him going into the wall, he actually kept it off the wall and actually piloted to pole position, which is insane. So kudos to Ricciardo on that amazing, amazing lap from him. A driver who wasn't having a really good day was Sebastian Vettel. Apparently something went on with his car or something like that, and he actually said this.
Hey box guys, it just got worse.
So clearly Sebastian Vettel wasn't that too pleased about it, and who can blame him, to be honest. I mean it was a good job, 4th place. Really, really good, I would say, to be honest, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Ferrari. I mean, they look good, they look really, really good, but I don't know, man. Sebastian, he loves to swear, man. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, actually, this is the 4th time he's actually sworn. I've just realised, the 4th time. He did it in China, he did it in Russia, he did it in Spain, now he's done it in Monaco, so... Sebastian Vettel, the new swear king.
What were the problems? Was it just building up your confidence around here, or was it the car? What was missing for you?
I think we, as I said, started well. Confidence was there, and then we seemed to struggle to just extract the grip that was there. So, unlike everyone else, we didn't get any quicker.
As we got into the race, it was a wet race. It was a safety car start as a result of the wet conditions. And yeah, a lot of the drivers forming behind the safety car, they did it for about 6-7 laps, which I thought was a bit too much, to be honest. I mean, if it was me, I would have probably let them go by like lap 2, to be honest, because, you know, the drivers have got a lot of temperature. You know, the track's not too bad. It wasn't that wet at the time, to be honest. I mean, it looked like it was going to be almost intermediate. So the fact that the safety car, the fact that Charlie didn't recognise it and let them go earlier, was a bit of a myth, to be honest. Because, you know, it looked really good. It looked like it was suitable for racing. It didn't look like it was all out and out dangerous, to be honest. I mean, it looked like the drivers could actually handle the conditions that it was at the moment, and yeah, and a lot of the drivers as a result were really putting their voices out there. Magnussen saying that he wants to get the race going, then Lewis putting a big one saying that he wants this race going as well. But finally we did get the race going, and it was a good start from Daniel Ricciardo. He actually pulled a massive gap at the first few laps of the race. Hamilton was behind Rosberg, and Rosberg was really struggling. I was kind of surprised. I thought Rosberg would be able to keep up with Ricciardo and maybe make this sort of a 3-car battle, because Hamilton was right behind Nico, really trying to get ahead, and Hamilton pushed so hard that he almost ran into the barriers there. It was a very, very close shave there. It was a massive close shave, to be honest, because I think if he slid it a bit more, he would have hit the barriers and maybe even damaged his front wing, which would have been bad for his championship. So yeah, very, very close from Hamilton's part there. Also, something to mention is that Jolyon Palmer actually, as they started the race actually properly, he aquaplaned on, I think it was a bit of the commentary team said it was a zebra crossing that he aquaplaned on, and as a result that put him into the wall, and as a result put him into the wall again at Saint-Devote. So yeah, I don't know, I think it must have been the outside being a bit too wet, to be honest, because the racing line looked alright, to be honest. It looked like it was almost intermediate, so I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know, it must have been something to do with the outside, to be honest. You know, the outside not being rarely used, which meant that there were a lot of wet puddles all over that part. So I don't know. I assume it must have been that, to be honest. So, yeah. Then after that happened, the virtual safety car was called. Thank God. Jesus Christ, I cannot deal with another safety car period, Jesus Christ. The emergency safety car was called, we got back going again, and Hamilton was right all over the back of Nico Rosberg. I mean, we could clearly see that Nico was clearly struggling with his tyres. You know, he was really struggling. He actually had a brake problem actually, which was the reason why he was dropping so far back from Ricciardo and into the clutches of Lewis Hamilton. And then by like lap, I would say lap 15, lap 16, Rosberg let Lewis Hamilton through to take second place, and really he was pulling a massive gap to Nico Rosberg. Nico afterwards was really struggling, pulling into the clutches of Vettel and Hulkenberg as well. So not a good day for Nico Rosberg. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Nico's not really famed for being good in the wet, to be honest. It's more his teammate, to be honest, because his teammate has a knack for it. He's won in similar conditions to this in 2008, of course. He's won the British Grand Prix in 2008 of the same year. He's won Fuji in 2007. I mean, he's won so many wet races. It's not a surprise that he was able to make it work more than Nico Rosberg in today's race. So further down the grid, there was a bit of contact going on between Magnussen and who else? Kvyat, yeah, sorry, Kvyat. Also, by the way, Kvyat actually had a bit of problems at the start of the race. Actually, he had a bit of I don't know, a bit of teething troubles, I believe it was. I think it might have been an engine problem, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, he had problems, and as a result, he was a lap down. And as he was sort of making his way up the field, he tried to get ahead of Magnussen. He collides with Magnussen on the side, going into the swim pool section. And as they make their way into Rascasse, Kvyat does a dive bomb on the inside of Rascasse, tried to do a sort of Jules Bianchi on a Caterham in 2014, and it fails, and as a result, both of them go into the wall. Kvyat was able to continue, so did Magnussen. They both continued on. I think honestly it was Kvyat's fault, to be honest, because Kvyat just came from so far back, to be honest. I mean, and also he's like a lap down as well. He was so far behind. I mean, literally he should have backed off and just waited for another chance, to be honest. I mean, it's so rare that you ever get a move done at Rascasse, to be honest, because it's such a tight corner. There's not a lot of room to go too wide, I would say, to be honest. So yeah, I think it was a very opportunistic move from Danny Kvyat's half. I forgot to say lap 17, lap 19, a lot of the front runners went to the pits. They changed to the intermediate tyres because a lot of the guys at the back were really setting really quick times because they came in really early. I think about lap 2, 3 after the safety cars came in the pits. So yeah, they set really quick lap times, so the front runners had to respond, otherwise they were going to be behind them lot, and we all know how terrible it would have been if those guys were behind them lot. So yeah, so they had to do it at the end of the day. They all went ahead, bar few. One was Vettel and Hulkenberg, who was behind Massa, and really they had a ding-dong battle for a couple of laps. You know, Massa went off the track a couple of times, so did Vettel, so did Hulkenberg as well. So yeah, but thankfully Vettel was actually able to get past Massa at one point during the race. I'm not entirely sure where he did it, but he actually can get past and really lay inroads towards the front of the pack. At the front, the two leaders kept going on intermediates while the rest were on, the two kept going on wets, as the rest went on intermediates. Yeah, they continued. Ricciardo went in probably about lap 23, lap 24, and we all thought, okay, Hamilton's going to cover him. But no, he doesn't. He actually stays out. He stays out for a little bit longer. And yeah, he was really struggling quite a lot. But then at that point, the dry line comes, and I was thinking, oh my god, if he actually makes this work, that'll be the ballsiest, most coolest call I've ever seen in my entire life. The most genius call I've ever seen in my entire life, to be honest. And he actually does it. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, he had some pressure from Ricciardo, yes, but he was able to defend him off, so much so that he actually made it to the pits ahead of Ricciardo for ultra softs, came out, and yeah, he didn't lose too much time, and I thought if he gets ahead, that's it. I mean, this is going to be the most genius call I've ever seen in my entire life. Ricciardo comes in the lap after for a set of super softs, used super softs, which is kind of surprising, to be honest. I thought he would have a couple of fresh sets left for the race, but I guess not. So yeah, as he was in the pit, the team, the Red Bull team, didn't have the tyres ready, so he had to wait for like what 5-10 seconds until he was able to get them on and get going. So very annoying by the Red Bull crew, to be honest. You know, he could have easily been ahead of Hamilton, and that was the case. Hamilton was just ahead of Ricciardo, and I mean, had that not happened, he would have been miles down the road and would have had a different winner. So, wow man, Ricciardo just getting screwed over of a race win. We've seen it in the past, last time out in Spain, where he got screwed so badly for a wrong pit strategy. I mean, it was just madness, and that gave his teammate Verstappen the win. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, don't know what the Red Bull guys were thinking, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. It must have been a miscommunication, to be honest, because you know, I don't know, man. I mean, it was just crazy in the end of it, and yeah, it was a miscommunication. I just realised it was a miscommunication. So yeah, I don't know. They've got to sort it out, to be honest, because these things cannot happen any further, because they could lose more points in terms of the championships. Hamilton led, and as a result, Ricciardo came back at Lewis Hamilton actually, and we had this great little battle for the lead of the race. Ricciardo was trying everything. He was trying left, right, centre. He was doing everything he can, and even Ricciardo tried to make a move down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, going into the Nouvelle chicane. Hamilton locks up. He runs off the road. He runs past the Nouvelle chicane, and as he's doing that, Ricciardo gets a really good run around the outside of Hamilton. But then Lewis sort of, I don't know, he sort of cut Ricciardo off coming out of the Nouvelle chicane. Ricciardo puts his hand up in the air, very annoyed by it. Personally, what I think about it, I think Hamilton, you know, gave him enough room to for Ricciardo to survive and maybe challenge, to be honest, because he did give him a car space, you know. He went off the road, he cut the corner. A lot of people could argue that he should have given the position to Ricciardo, but you've got to realise that he was ahead of the time, so it really wouldn't have made a difference, you know. It would have more made a difference to Ricciardo in terms of him actually benefiting from that. So, yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. I think Hamilton, I don't think it was dirty at all. I don't think it was out of order from Hamilton. I think Hamilton was just, he did a fair block, you know, he did a really fair block. And yeah, I mean, as racing drivers, you've got to leave cars with, and I think Hamilton did that, of course.
Don't call him back, girl. Let me see you hold it down. We gon'
on lap 38, 39, dramas happened, and that was for that was for Max Verstappen. Apologies. Yeah, he actually lost the rear end at the same corner he did in P3. Actually, loses the rear end, crashing into Massenet, and yeah, that was the end of his race. Very disastrous for Max Verstappen, especially after the weekend that he had last time out in Spain. You know, for him to be suddenly thrown into this pool of bad luck is quite disastrous and quite frustrating for him. You know, because you know he had a great result in Spain. And I thought going into this weekend he could be a dark horse for this. You know, surely, because you know we've seen what talent he's got behind the wheel. You know, yes, he hasn't got that Renault upgrade that Ricciardo had, but surely, you know, with the downforce and everything else, you know, it would have made the difference for him to actually maybe challenge for the win. So it was very frustrating, to be honest. I mean, I would have loved to see Verstappen really see what he could have done, because really, during the mid-part, he was really flying on those slick tyres. He was actually getting really quick lap times, fastest laps actually. So I was really interested to see what he would have done at the front, you know, with the likes of Perez, Vettel, even Rosberg as well, so yeah. But then with about, I would say 20 laps to go, the Sauber boys had a bit of issues going on. They were down in like 16th, 17th. The team told Nasir that he had to let Ericsson through. No. Yeah, I think it was Ericsson through. He had to let Ericsson through. Nazio was like, why, and all that. And then but then the team said, oh, you got to let him through because it's going to help our race, you know. It's going to help our race because Ericsson's a lot faster than Nazia, so it would have made more sense for him to be let go. And maybe even fight the guys ahead of him. And he didn't do it actually. I was quite surprised. I thought, really, what? I thought Nazia was better than this. I thought Nazia was a really good driver, you know, that knows what he's doing, you know, who has a lot of respect for team orders and all that, you know. I would assume that Nazia would have been the bigger man and just let Ericsson through, but no, he actually doesn't. And actually, we have this like little situation going on between the two Saubers, and as they're going into the Rascas, oh my days! Holy shit! The two Saubers take each other out of the race. You haven't heard me wrong. The two Saubers actually take each other out. So it was sort of a Mercedes from Spain actually. Both of them taking each other out of the race. Both Ericsson and Nazia taking each other out of the race because Ericsson made a dive bomb going into the entry into Erascas. Nazia gets sideswiped by Ericsson. They both spin out. They both crash. Nazia's out of the race. Ericsson continues, but then he's out of the race. Massive drama, unbelievable, man.
You got me feeling hella loved, even when it's going.
Personally, what I thought about it, I think Ericsson should have not done that, to be honest. You know, I think Ericsson should have not done that, to be honest. I know he was going to get past it at some point. I know Nazia wasn't respecting the team order, but you know, if he wasn't, then Nazia should have got punished for that, not Ericsson just being a dick and, as a result, compounding the problems by him actually running into Nazia. So, I don't know, man. I mean, Nazia, I don't know, as well too. I think both are equally guilty, to be honest. Nazia because he didn't let Ericsson through, and Ericsson because he compounded the problem by taking out both cars, and that actually is going to hurt Sauber quite a lot because they're actually having a bit of financial troubles at the moment. So yeah, man, to have this would be a massive pain and a massive sting in the tail for the team as well, with Manisha and all that lot. I mean, it would just be awful for them lot. I don't know what they're saying, I don't know what they've said afterwards, to be honest. I haven't heard anything with the Saubers yet, to be honest, but they must have been absolutely seething, to be honest, because they just gave away so many chances of points, to be honest. And yeah, man, I mean, I don't know, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think both are equally guilty for it, you know. I think Sauber, they can't really fire both their drivers. This is a good point that someone actually made. They can't fire both drivers because, like I said, both drivers are paying Sauber to be in F1. So if they fire both of them, that would put Sauber in jeopardy of actually leaving the sport. That would be a real shame, to be honest. And actually, it got to the point that that the Sauber team don't have seats. The rest of the team do, Sauber don't, and that's just massive. That's a massive shame for them, to be honest. And it's really awful for Sauber. I really feel for Sauber, to be honest, because literally they're on the way out. They're definitely on the way out, to be honest. And there's got to be some solution to this. Personally, if it was me, I would say it'd be cool if we could have maybe, I don't know, it's going to be difficult because there's not a lot of teams that are willing to get into F1, to be honest. The only big one I would say was Alfa Romeo. I doubt Alfa Romeo will be going into F1 because they're kind of sponsored by Ferrari, so I doubt it, to be honest. So it'd be a real shame if Sauber actually leaves F1, to be honest. But hopefully they can actually pull themselves out of this financial crisis, to be honest, because this is awful for them, and especially with this as well, that's made things even worse. So yeah. But back to the action, Hamilton was pulling quite away from Ricciardo actually. By like the last 10 laps he was pulling massively from Ricciardo, and actually there were spots of rain on the last few laps. Yeah, that made it a little bit interesting, but at the front there was no real change, there was no real dramas happening. And also at the front as well, we had Vettel closing up to Perez there, and it looked like Vettel was actually going to get past Perez, but in the end it was actually Perez who came home to take third place. It was a massive result for Force India, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, what a result for Force India, man. That's that's awesome. It's nice to see a team like that and a driver like that actually coming through, the underdogs coming through and taking a podium. That is just awesome. I love seeing teams and drivers like that taking podiums and even maybe taking wins for that matter. So yeah, that's why I love the underdog teams. They just I don't know, they just come out of the blues. They just have one of those weekends where they shine and get the rewards, man. I mean, we've seen it a load of times. Arrows, for instance, Jordan, many others, including Force India themselves, getting that 3rd place. I mean, that's just awesome. I love that moment. It was one of the most heartwarming moments ever for Perez and Force India coming in 3rd place there. Massive shame for Vettel, but you can't argue about Perez. You thoroughly deserve that, to be honest. Yeah. Further up the field, it was Lewis Hamilton who came through to take victory here at Monaco. Finally, a victory in 2016. After all the troubles, after all the mechanical problems, after all of this, finally a race win. Awesome. That was so awesome. And also redemption as well from last year, because he easily could have won Monaco last year. But he didn't because of the Mercedes getting the safety car thing wrong and all that. So yeah, I guess much needed redemption from Hamilton's part of Monaco. So yeah, what a result from Hamilton there. Second was Ricardo, a bit unfortunate for him. Well, it could have easily won the race had it been for Red Bull's little mistake there. But hey ho, that's racing, these things can happen. And at least he got a 2nd place there, which was a fantastic result. A very, very good drive by Daniel Ricciardo. And 3rd place, of course, like I said, Sergio Perez. What a result for him there. I mean, I love that. That was one of the most awesome moments ever this year, to be honest, because we finally had a underdog team get another podium. It was awesome. It was really, really awesome. It was nice to see Perez getting another podium as well. You know, this is apparently his 5th, I believe it was, and just before his 100th race. That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. That was cool.
You can only say that it feels right, it feels right, yeah. I can only say that it feels right.
At the last lap, Hulkenberg actually picked Rosberg. Rosberg was down in 6th place. He was struggling with his ultra soft tyres because of the wet conditions. And yeah, as a result, in the final corner, he got pipped by Nico Hulkenberg due to the rain that was coming down at the last lap there. So yeah, Nico Rosberg, not his day, going from bad to worse. He thought he had 6th place. No, he hasn't. He's got 7th place. That was really, really insane, to be honest. I don't know why he did it, to be honest. I guess Rosberg kind of made a mistake into Raskas or something like that, and then as a result, Hulkenberg was right with him. And then I guess going into Antonino knows, Rosberg runs a bit deep, so that allowed Hulkenberg to get a great drive out of
I just want to know what you're gonna
there. So I guess it might have been Raskas and Antonino knows that might have done it for him. So fortunate for Rosberg, you know, it really will hurt his championship. It will really put a sting in the tail for his championship. But he's got to remember, he is 24 points ahead in the championship. He can still come back from this. He can still pull away from Hamilton in the next race. I mean, it's not over. It's just one race at the end of the day. He's still got a comfortable advantage ahead of Hamilton. He can still do it from here. So yeah, a very, very enjoyable race. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I've got to say that I've got to give that a I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. A very, very enjoyable race. Really, really cool to see Hamilton and Ricciardo really go at it. We're going to get a lot more of this in the future, to be honest. I mean, we had plenty before then, but we're going to get more of this later on, especially how the way the Red Bull is coming along. So yeah, we're definitely going to get more battles like this. So I think we may see something like a Hamilton and Alonso that we had in 2007 to 2008 to 10, or even 2011 or 2012, I don't know, but we're probably going to get a Hamilton Alonso coming up. So yeah, that's awesome. Also, by the way, I forgot to mention Alonso and Button, 5th and 9th, great result for both of them. That was awesome, especially on their McLaren's 50th year joining the sport, because they joined on the 1966 Monaco Grand Prix. And yeah, that was their 50th, and that's just awesome. Really, really awesome. Nice to see them celebrate it with both cars in the points there. So yeah, I truly love that, to be honest. Okay guys, that's it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this race. Comment below on what you thought about the race. Was it enjoyable? Was it exciting? What you thought about some of the key moments that happened during the race? Also, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. It's your boy, I'm out. Peace.
I can never ever find the right words, and there's no way this is real life. There's no telling you're the right girl, so I can only say that it feels right. It feels right. It feels right. Yeah.